few minutes late. We were chatting as Cammy and I tend to do, talking about real life things like driving on toll roads without tags and okay,
Fender
good.
benders and husbands.
And yeah, the consequences of that and asking our husbands to help us with things we don't want to do. So we got all caught up in conversation, but hi, how are you guys? In case you are new to my channel, my name is Lauren Golden. I'm the founder of the Free Mama and the Free Mama Movement. And I'm super excited because we did a series back this spring and into summer where we're bringing on moms, moms who have gone through the Free Mama Movement and just honestly to share you guys their experience, not just with my course, but through our community and through this decision that they've made to basically commit to living their life a little bit differently than kind of what we typically see in society, so to say. And I'm super excited because the person that you guys are going to get to hear from today is like, I'm having trouble with the words because I'm seeing all of these emojis flash through my head. Like she is a fire emoji. She is a flamenco dancer emoji. She is a like blessed emoji. She has so many things. And she got my attention right out the gate. And that's hard to do when you're talking about a community that at the time it was really growing, which I'm so proud of and so grateful for. But I immediately knew who Cammy was, and she's a true action taker. And we're going to kind of unpack that and how she's able to do some stuff. I already have some questions I know I want to ask her that she doesn't know is coming. But today's going to be awesome. What this woman has been able to do in a year is unreal. We'll kind of unpack exactly how she found the Free Mama and where she was at and what she's doing now, which I also am insanely proud of. Like, I'm just so proud of you, Cammy. I'm honored to know you. I think you're a great human. I know you've brought other women into our community and inspired them to take action. And I thank you for that. And I'm just super excited to get started. So how are you feeling? Are you ready?
Yes, thank you. What a sweet introduction.
Awesome. All right. Well, I go post this link in Facebook, which is where I normally hang out, and make sure all of our friends are here. We've got some people on already watching and saying hello to you. Why don't you just paint a picture for us? Where were you? Like, who are you? First of all, I know I already kind of introduced you, but where were you like in your life a year ago? Just like tell us what was going on when you first found the Free Mama.
Sure. Well, I will tell you that it's kind of a mouthful, so just try to like stay with me. I'm going to give everybody kind of the abbreviated version because there was a lot happening in my life a year ago and leading up to it. And so I'm just going to kind of throw the whole kitchen sink at you and kind of go from there. But first of all, my name is Cammy, and I'm married to my husband, Nathan, 14 years now. We worked hard to get here where we are, and we've got 4 beautiful boys that we're raising together. I also have a 5th that is up in heaven. He was my firstborn son, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But a year ago, I was in a place of choice. I had to choose. I had a baby, brand new newborn baby, and I had to choose. Do I stay with what I'm doing right now and continue to be miserable and not have time for my kids and my family the way that I want to be and be present in my life the way that I thought I would be? Or do I put my child in daycare and go back to work? And the idea of going back to work was devastating because what you don't know is that I had been working in a multi-level marketing company for about 6 years at that point, and had been working from home. And all things considering, they say working from home, but really the truth is I wasn't working from home. I was working at other people's homes, doing parties in the evenings and launching girls and going on coffee visits. And I was not home all the time. But as a result of that, I was really successful financially. I was able to promote to the very, very top level of the company in 1 year. Like Lauren said, like I'm a doer. I love to get out there and take action and like go after it gusto. And I thought what I was doing was creating a business that would give me time later. But that whole like sacrifice now for the time you want later thing is like, I mean, it's kind of BS in my opinion, because frankly, the higher up I got, the harder the hustle got. And the more like obligation there was, the more responsibility and the more pressure and the less time that I had. And that was the whole point, was to be able to have some financial freedom with my family, but time that I just wasn't getting. And the reason that that became so important to me is that about 1.5 years prior to that, I had lost my oldest son to suicide. He was 16 at the time. And my whole business just had to take a shelf. I had to put it on the major back burner and totally go back to just feeling like a human again. And during the course of that time, my business just kind of fell apart at the seams. The wheels came off and I started to really not feel like I was in alignment with it anyway, just because I was so unhappy with it. There's a lot of other things that I won't get into that just, I guess, culturally speaking, we're not in alignment with who I am as a human being either. So there was a lot of things that were making me feel like I needed to start phasing out of that and start finding a different way to provide for my family and still be present as a mother. And so I went online into a local moms Facebook group, and it's so funny because I think you referenced something like this in a post once, but I actually typed into the search bar, legit work from home, not MLM. Search bar within the group because I didn't want to go in the group and actually ask. I didn't want to offend anybody, whatever. And sure enough, this post pops up, almost exact verbiage, and there was a big thread full. And so I started taking notes of all the different things that you can do. And one of them was the Free Mama movement. I saw this beautiful girl and this cool name. I'm like, Free Mama, I want to be a free mama. So I clicked on it to this free training, right? Like you get to like go in and learn like, what is virtual assistant? Never heard of it. Wanted to know about it. And I remember sitting down so desperate for an opportunity of change that I was prepared to do anything. And I realized that I didn't have to sacrifice like my anything. I didn't have to like go do surveys and like sacrifice my joy and my happiness. Like I can actually find a way to do something that I enjoy and make money and have time. Like I totally can have it all because of Lauren's program. And so I was hanging on your every word in that free training, and really was just profoundly moved by your personal story of loss and just how you were able to kind of have new perspective in your life in a way that makes you create a business that is going to fit into the life that you desire and not necessarily have to make sacrifices in order to make money. Does that make sense? So it was just a really big deal. And I was so excited the day that I found out about it. I told my husband and my family, and I think I signed up like the next day. And I mean,
you sent me an email.
I did send you an email and you replied.
I did. I remember getting the email from you. Well, I remember, and this is probably why you stood out so quickly.
Oh no, the baby's head is stuck in the banister. Hold on.
Get the baby. Cammy, go help, go. We call this real life.
It's all good. He's my youngest.
Is he okay? I'm like, go. Why aren't you getting it?
because my teenager's up there and he's watching him, but of course playing video games. He got his head stuck in the banister.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, I sent you an email, and I remember being so touched that you replied back so quickly, and it was just evidence that you were like a real person.
And we're gonna come back to that email later on. But one of the reasons I think you caught my attention, Cammy, I could tell that you were very confident. And a lot of women who come into my community for one reason or another are not. And it quite frankly, it breaks my heart. There are some people who are they've been in toxic work environments for so long that they've been told such hurtful things that they've come to believe them, or maybe they've been home so long enough that they've convinced themselves that they don't have anything professional to offer the world. And obviously that's something that I feel passionate about not being true, and something that I try to help walk women through and overcome on their own terms so that they understand their brilliance and see themselves the way that we see them, you know. But you really stood out to me because you were ready to go. You were locked and loaded. And even though this whole new this virtual world, you know, you had built a successful business, but this virtual world was new to you. And I remember on one of our very first calls together, you said, Lauren, just tell me the software I need to know so I can go learn it. I mean, you were just like, dude, and I'm like, okay.
I remember
that.
It
doesn't really work that way. I'm like, here's what I would do today. So like Spitfire right out of the gate, you're like, tell me what I need to do and I will do it. You're an implementer. And I loved that about you. Spoiler, the answer was go get your professional email, get your Calendly link, set it, take care of and get your Zoom account, right? Like get the automation component so that you're ready to take on, like to meet with a prospective client. That was my answer that day. What I would love for you to share with everybody, you know, as in detail or brief as you want to, because there are some things you said that I'm like, that is brilliant. Like if that's not a famous quote, it needs to be. Why do you think you were able to come in and like just knock it down and be super coachable and take action that sometimes other people don't do? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Well, in all fairness, I'd already kind of been through the process of conquering fear over the last 7 years. I had to put that into practice like a lot. And so what I came to realize over time was that I am able to do so much when I'm motivated by fear. Now, I know that that's not the case with a lot of people. Fear can either motivate you or it can paralyze you. But I believe that that's a choice. I think that people choose to let them be paralyzed by it. I've learned that fear is my friend. And, I know that you saw this confident person when I first came in, but I think that maybe I'm just really good at putting on a front, because really what it was a very frustrated, very broken, very unsure of myself person with a ton of hope, because I finally found something that I knew I could do if I just applied myself and I just stopped thinking and started doing. And the reason that I was broken was because I was so unhappy for the last 6 years. I was broken down. I was talked to horribly. I was treated like I wasn't worth anything. And here I'm like, dude, I have a lot to offer. I have a lot of gifts. I have a lot of talents. But I had a thumb on my head for 6 years telling me not to do that. Stay in your box. Don't shine too brightly. Don't talk so loud. Don't be too good, because we don't want other people to feel small when they're with you. Like, it was a ridiculous mentality that they were trying to teach me. So when I met you and your program, I was like, I get to be me again. So what happened was I came into this program going, oh yeah, like, I'm Cammy and I know how to do things. I know how to figure things out. I'm not a victim. I do have an incredible need to make a change in my life, and I'm completely in control of that. And at the end of the day, people's opinions of what I'm doing doesn't pay my bills. I've got kids to feed.
Yeah.
I've got kids to feed. I have a bank account that's empty, and I have no choice, in my opinion, because going back to work and putting my kid in daycare after everything I've done to try to avoid that the last 10 years, and I'm going to go back where I started, hell no, like, for lack of a better word. And so
I'm so glad you said that, Cammy, because that's what I was hoping you'd hit on. I remember on a call where you said, whether it's I don't know how to do something, or I'm afraid of what other people think about me. You had this financial necessity, and everybody's is different. It could be you need an extra $200 to just feel comfortable, or maybe you need to replace a 6-figure salary. It doesn't matter, but you had this financial necessity. And I remember you saying, other people's stuff, that person's not going to pay my bills. That person doesn't care when I can't go do. And I was just like, that is powerful. And that, I think that's something we have in common, in terms of, to me, that's a big motivator too. Like, I've told the story of when my family moved to Houston and I lost most of my clients, and my husband was like, do you think you should go get a job? And I was like 12 weeks pregnant, barfing constantly, and got my butt to 2 networking events, because I'm like, pills to the no. Like, to me, I used that fear, instead of just being like giving up, I used it as a motivator to reinforce what I knew I wanted and what I knew I was capable of. So I'm so glad that you touched on that.
Thanks. Yeah, I think that it's fair to say that I knew absolutely nothing in terms of the skills that I have now, but I learned how.
Yep.
I'm capable of learning so much.
And you got paid to learn.
Yes.
So let's talk about it. Let's keep going on your journey. So you took the program, you were out of the gate, you were super fast. What happened next? I told you to get your Zoom account. And what'd you do?
I think you told me to, you were like, I need you to chill a little. And I was like, I don't want to.
I said, trust the process. I'm like, trust the process. It's all in there. I promise. It's 12 weeks. How long did it take you to finish though? You were fast, right?
Yeah, I took the fast pass, and I decided to go ahead and take the group coaching, because I did know that I had a need that I needed to meet quickly. And so I dove in and I figured, you know what, I'm going to invest, and I'm going to earn that investment back as soon as possible. And so yeah, I had an 11-week-old baby at the time. I was full-time nursing, and that's a really big deal when you're nursing every 2 hours. But I just kept him on a nursing pillow on my lap and by my desk, and I got up at 5:30 every day, and I spent some time with Lauren Golden, and worked the 12 weeks into 5. So I really slammed it out fast, but I also got busy doing everything right away. I applied everything as fast as I could. As I was learning it, I was doing it. I didn't know what the crap I was doing when it came to making my website on WordPress, and it's a miracle that I managed to finish it, but it took me a full 48 hours of racking my brain to just put together a simple template website. But I did it, and I launched it, and I moved on to the next thing. I didn't get hung up on it. And within 2 weeks, I had now built a website, right? Like I had done one, so I know how to do it. Within 2 weeks of starting the program, I was able to land a client that needed a simple website. So I charged her $1,800, earned my investment back in 14 days. And it was like, thank you, God. Like such an affirmation that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So it was amazing.
That is so amazing. So tell me more about since then, because that was about a year ago, right? Was this last October, September?
It was August.
August. Okay. So a little over a year ago. So talk to me about like the technical side. Tell me what skills you've learned in the last year that you didn't know.
Well, for sure, just simple websites. And I've learned a lot about email campaigning. I've learned a lot about ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels is like my jam. So I've learned a lot about that. I've learned about how to just like the back end stuff, how to integrate it with everything. Infusionsoft, like I didn't even know what it was. Now I know all about it. I guess I'm having a hard time. Like social media management, I know a lot more about that than I probably thought I would. It's not necessarily my jam. Like I'm so happy we have people in the world like Mia because we need her so badly to like pave the way, because it's not like something I personally enjoy and love. But I also learned a lot about Pinterest. Like who knew Pinterest was so powerful? So Pinterest marketing management, making pins and all that stuff. I'm loving that. So I don't know, the list goes on, but I'm still learning. And if it's something I feel like it interests me and fascinates me, I'm not afraid to try it on for size and see if I like it. And if I do, I do it. If I don't, I don't.
That's awesome. So I think that you are a standout in the community in terms of your ability and your, I'll use the word trust. And we kind of spoke about this before we got on in terms of finding clients. Do you want to talk to me a little bit about your journey over the last year? I know you've had some project clients, you've had some retainer clients, and you were telling me you've had some clients leave and new ones come in. Do you want to just kind of share with us how's business, Cammy?
How's business? It is sort of one of those things as a business owner that can feel really daunting. And there have been days where I was worried. I had worry, I had fear, I had anxiety because I got an email from a client saying, hey, I'm going to hire my daughter to do all the things that you're doing. So I'm not going to be renewing. Or, hey, my budget changed and I can't afford your services right now, but I'll check back with you later. Thanks for the 3 months or 4 months that we've had together. And it's frustrating because you're like, oh, onboarding you was so time consuming. And now I'm gonna have to go find another one. And what if I don't? And so I have all of those same thoughts of what ifs that can creep in. But I will just be totally transparent. Like I'm a Christian and I invite God into every element of my business. I've even stood at the front of my office and just prayed over it and said, God, like, my needs. This is what I need to have happen. I'm going to go and I'm going to faithfully do the next best thing for my business, but I'm going to need you to like show up and show off because I have to take care of my family. And so I think one thing that I see a lot online, just in Facebook groups with other moms and things, is often people will resort to praying, which I think is a great step, in your business to pray about it and see what God does. But at the same time, I always tell my kids, like, you can't pray for a hole and lean on a shovel. You've got to pick up the shovel. You've got to be willing to dig. And ultimately, God will give you the endurance to continue to dig the hole that you're needing. He's going to give you the tools, he's going to give you the energy, he's going to give you the mindset, the peace of mind. And then he even sometimes will just flat out deliver, and I love when God does that, So I've had times where clients have fallen off, but I got back into the saddle and was like, all right, I know what I need to do in order to continue to find clients. I think it was maybe month 4. I got really complacent because I had found all these retainer clients. And then all of a sudden I had like one. And I was like, crap, I totally stopped doing all the things to market myself and my business in a way that was effective. And because I was like, I'm good. I don't need to do all that stuff. Well, wrong. You need to continue to put yourself out there and be consistent with making sure people know who you are, where you are, what you do, and why they should care, while you have clients, so that when you don't, the next one's coming in. And so I've really learned how to just massage my pipeline, stay out there in the Facebook world. Really, Facebook's kind of the best place for me anyway, to do that, but also continue to just pray faithfully that God is going to provide. And he has. I have yet to have a single client fall off where I didn't have another one lined up right behind them that just popped into my calendar. It's not magic, it's work, but it was, I feel like it was God's faithfulness that was really incorporated into that. So that's my line.
That's awesome. That's so beautiful.
Thanks.
So you kind of came from this different environment, and we've talked about this before. So when you found the Free Mama, and when you just kind of look over the last year, what surprised you most, either about the community or this line of work or yourself and your business or your clients? What's been the most kind of, you didn't know it was coming, and there it is? And
Yeah, I think the idea of passive income, like I had never heard of that. I've heard of residual income. And then of course I know about direct, sales and things like that. So I know when you have a client, they pay you, you do the work, and that's it. Residual was something that I obviously tampered with, and I'm still getting a nice little residual, but that may or may not stay. So I've got to figure something out. You were the one that introduced me to passive income. And that's something that I think is the golden ticket for me to have what I need in order to provide for my family. The idea of creating a product once and then selling it over and over and over again, I was like, oh, okay, something really shifted for me there. And while I know there's a very large learning curve there and it's a lot of work, it's something that I'm willing to step into and learn. And so over the last year, I've been, doing the best that I can do at the quickest paces I can, but I want to make sure I'm taking care of my kids, really taking care of my marriage, making sure my clients are happy because I need them to pay my bills. And at the same time, in my spare time, learning about this cool thing called passive income and how to do that. So that's been like the golden egg for me.
that's awesome. We're going to come back to that in just a second.
And I will say the community. I have come from a toxic, catty, very disappointing, negative women environment being in MLM. Sorry, girls, those of you that are offended, that was my experience, to a community of women who are not competitive, only supportive, showing up for each other, loving, helpful, genuine, authentic, like all the things. So
good.
Thank God for that.
This morning, I forget how the conversation started, but it was walking our kids to school this morning, and my husband said something about, oh, we saw these two cats like on the street, just neighborhood outdoor cats, like being catty. And my husband made some comment about like, oh, it's like when you get a bunch of women together. And I was like, I'm sorry, not the women I hang out with. I was like, I just spent a weekend with 60 of them and there was none of that. But that's almost like the go-to funny joke is that women are catty, and I just want to reinvent that. So I'm glad that you experienced that as part of our community. Okay, so like I said earlier, we first met, you first met me on a webinar. I first met you in an email. And one of the things that stood out to me, Cammy, and the reason you immediately became memorable, and this was before you even bought my course. And I remember do you remember what I replied to you with?
I just remember you being very kind. That's about it. About my story.
I offered you a free call with me,
That's
which
right.
I don't do that.
Yep.
So let me tell everybody, because everybody's like, I want a free call. Here's the deal. Here's what happened. So I got Cammy's email. It was very thoughtful. I could tell that she was intentional with her words. I could tell that she was professional. I understood where she was at in her life in terms of things aren't 100% awesome, but it wasn't Debbie Downer. I still felt a really positive energy from her. And I just knew that she was going to be successful. Like I knew all this from her email, but that wasn't what stood out, because we get a lot of emails. What stood out was that at the bottom of her email, she had a video attachment as part of her footer. And I believe it might've been talking about your network marketing and
It was.
stuff, but it was this professional video of Cammy kind of introducing herself and whatever it was. I don't even remember what the video was. Not the point, right? But I remember I clicked on it and I watched it. I immediately felt a connection to you more than what I had felt through the words in the email, right? It stood out. It made an impression. You did end up enrolling in my course. I did still give you that call as promised. And so we got to know each other pretty quickly. What people watching may or may not know about you, Cammy, is that this is more or less your zone of genius. Not that you don't have more than one, but the way that you leverage video as a business owner is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And we've alluded to it several times. You've already said you're looking into being able to scale your business and something that can be, systemized and productized and automated, which is fantastic. Clearly, that's something I've also chose to do in terms of scaling my business as well. But it's also what I would say has contributed to great growth within your own business. So, will you talk a little bit about why video? How did you get started with video? What do you say to people who kind of are watching this and are like, oh heck no, like y'all are extroverts, like I'm not doing, like why do you think video is so impactful other than the example we just gave?
Sure. Oh my gosh, there was like a series of very good questions. I want to like answer all of those.
You're good.
First
Take
of
your
all,
time.
to those of you, and you might have to remind me, I don't want to miss any of them. They were good. For those of you that are like, oh heck no, I'll just say that you are leaving a lot of money on the table. You're leaving a lot of money, a lot of opportunity, a lot of peace of mind. And frankly, I feel like the stability that you could have in your business is on the other side of the fear that you have about it. I know that the idea of doing video is scary because you don't know the outcome and you don't know what people are going to think. But let's go back to the reality that really, I mean, nobody's died doing video on social media, and you really only have something to gain. It might start out a little rocky, but I always say start ugly, say it ugly, do it ugly, because the more you do it, the better at it you'll become. I know that's something that Lauren's probably talked about on various things in your business, but I think that video is honestly the best way to connect with people on a human level and an emotional level that you cannot do through an email or a text or a DM or a comment on a Facebook post or a still image of you holding coffee in your kitchen and have amazing copy that you've written. Nobody cares as much as when they get a video, especially when it's personally for them. So I use video in every area of my business. It's so much more than just Facebook Lives, you guys. Like you can incorporate that. I don't get on and yammer on about my business. However, I use it strategically to pull back the curtain and allow people to get to know the person behind the brand, the person behind Wheelhouse VA. Who is Cammy Lee? Do I like this person? Because at the end of the day, if people like you, they'll trust you and they'll want to work with you. And so I think that when you are able to get past your the neuroses of it all, you're going to recognize that there's actually a lot of success waiting for you if you would just kind of allow yourself to try it on for size and start implementing some of the things that I teach and that Lauren teaches. I believe in video, and I have for a very long time because frankly, I've been teaching it for over a decade. I was a little bit beyond my years, I think, at the time, but I worked for a small startup niche social media marketing firm, and all we sold was cookie cutter social media packages. And one of the things that we implement in the social media marketing was video. And these business owners that I was talking to were like deer in headlights when I talked to them about video. They just were not having it, you guys. It was a big deal for them to even have a social media account. This is back in like 2011. Okay. Facebook, I think, came on 2008. This is like a really new time, right? No, when did Facebook come out? I went on Facebook. Was it? Okay. So anyway, I had been trying to teach them this. Well, when I decided to start my multi-level marketing company, because that youth marketing closed, basically, it was like not a success. Nobody was buying.
I weren't using video.
Yeah, I still was on fire about video. So I used that to carry my business. And I think that is really what has allowed me to grow that business so fast, but also grow Wheelhouse so fast. Yeah. I just connect more effectively, quicker. I make a better first impression. I leave people curious about who I am. I let them into my life. They know who I am on an intimate level. And there's no question marks as to who they're going to be working with or if they're going to get the bang for their buck. And so that comes with a lot of different ways of using video. It's not just Facebook Lives. I use it everywhere.
So give some examples. I know you've got I remember when you were building your website in the 48 hours and trying to figure it out for the very first time. I know you have a video on your website.
Yes, that was actually something I did pretty early on. I just wanted to have something that invited them in to who I am as a person. And I gave them some background as to like why I love what I do and why they should care. I think that sticking with the who, what, where, when, why, and how mentality is great when you're kind of creating a message like, who are you? What do you do? What do they need? How can you help? Why should they care? And, you know, when's the best time to reach out to them? Like kind of follow that guide to understand like what your message needs to be, because they don't care, you know, about majority of the things you have to share about yourself. They want to know how they have a problem and how you're going to solve it. And so that's what my video is for. It's to kind of draw them in that I am the solution to their problems, when it comes to their business, obviously. But I use it when I contact people, whether it's in a Facebook group or I DM them, or sometimes I send them an email. My follow-ups generally are in a video. I just do a quick Loom video, and it's to them. Hey, Sarah, Cammy here, just circling back. I've missed chatting with you. I've been looking forward to hearing. I'm watching you on Facebook. I see you've got all this amazing stuff going on. I would love to hear more about it. So I know we chatted last week, and I'm not sure if you're still in the market for a VA, but I definitely am still excited about working with you. So just let me know if you need me. I'm here. I'm here when you're ready. You know, something just so simple, smiling, casual, 30 seconds or less. That is so much more powerful than like some stuffy email where you're like, I'm just circling back to see, are you still interested in my services? Let me know. Yeah, they will watch that video, by the way. They will ignore your email, but people cannot stop themselves from watching your video. And the cool thing about Loom is it will send you a notification that they watched it.
Ooh, that's sneaky. You're doing it on Loom. That's good to know. I love it. So if you're not using Loom, I know it's a Chrome extension. I don't know. Maybe you can download it to your desktop as well, but I use it as a Chrome extension. Not to be confused with Zoom, which is what we're streaming in now. That's so awesome. So let me ask you, when you think about how much you've already accomplished in such a short amount of time, what do you think about the future of your business? What's next for you?
Really, I want to continue to work on my passive income, and just build out something that is sustainable there and that I feel like is really successful, so that I can then turn around and teach people how to do it. I love to go out into the world and do hard things and then become really good at it. Or like, if I can, I want to be the best, you know, I'm that kid. I want to go in and become really good at things, but then I love to turn around and then take my friends with me. I love to go teach other people how to do what I'm doing, be successful. That's one of the only things that brought me joy, when I was in my multi-level marketing company, was being able to do training videos and find out that I had over 150,000 viewers on my channel one day. Had no idea. And people in Ireland and Nova Scotia and Australia and New York and all over the world were watching my training videos because they were drinking up what I was just learning on a day-to-day basis. I was like, hey, I learned this thing today. It totally worked. It'll work for you. And they loved it. And so I became known for video. And when I was in that company, everybody knew Cammy Lee and her videos. And so I really believe that video is the name of the game right now. I think it's the only way to stand out. And it's really going to be what's going to bring people the most of you as a person. They're going to be able to really see that. So I really want to let video continue to stay a big part of who I am and how I help people. But I want to show people the ins and outs and the steps that you take to get there too. So I think probably my next passive income will be about teaching people how to do this. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then, you know, just keep doing it, keep going, more and more.
I love it. All right. Well, in closing, I noticed two things. One, I noticed how frequently you use the word joy. It makes me really happy. So I just wanted to point that out. I think, you know, it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day stuff, you know, and we need money. We all need money. And so it's easy to just start building something, but if we don't take the time to do it intentionally, joy is one of the first things that I think we'll lose. And so I just wanted to point that out, that I noticed that as you're talking, that you're so intentional with your choices and what you choose to do in your business. And I think it's because joy is something that you want to have, and you want to continue to have more of and create more of for your family. So
well, and bravo for that. The future. I think that we often are so caught up in living for what's coming that we forget that we're not promised that time. Right. I lived my whole life worried about my kids' future. And I'm like, I buried one. Now I don't know that I'm promised a future for them. So now it's time to live in the moment and truly like let go of the part of who I am that was always living in the future and worrying about what's coming down the road, and stop and really plant my feet where I stand and be on purpose right here, right now, today, and let tomorrow's struggles and anxieties come on their own time. And
No,
so that's
absolutely.
changed everything for me. What's that?
I'm like, it's like going to church. I'm like, yeah, yeah, amen. Okay, it's so good. And lastly, in closing, I want to just equip everybody with what you're talking about right now. So, how can people follow you? How can they find you? I can drop a link in here after we record the video and give them some information with what you want to share. But do you want to let people know kind of where are you? How can they learn more about video in this course that you've built and leverage the strength? And one thing that's not lost on me, Cammy, before I let you share and then I'll stop talking, is for all of you, I can see 20 eyeballs on at this exact moment on YouTube. For all of you guys watching right now, we're grateful. Keep learning, lifelong learner. And what's it going to take for you to be the people that other people are watching? You know what I mean? Like, you all know who Cammy is now. You guys know who I am. The fastest way for you to grow your business is for other people to know who you are. So what this gal next to me can teach you guys can help you be that person that other people are watching, and then they're going to want to work with you. I promise. Over to you, Cammy.
So my business name as a virtual administrative consultant is Wheelhouse VA. So I do have a business page that I pop into, but I have a business Facebook group that I started that is relatively new, but we have almost 400 people in there so far. So I'm proud of that. And we're having some fun over there. I'll pop in every Tuesday and do a 30-minute training on some kind that is helpful and applicable to any online business entrepreneur. It's for girls only. But it's called What's in Your Wheelhouse. And it's really just a place for people to shine and talk about their area of expertise. It is not a place for, people, including myself, to just like hyper promote. It's just a place to support each other and love one another and learn and glean from one another. And then obviously my personal Facebook page, I'm very active on. So feel free to follow Cammy, Karis, and Lee as well. I love my Facebook friends. And then my course, I spent the last year creating it. And I think that it's fair to say that while it's about how to be great at video and it helps kind of overcome some of the basics, like how do you do a video? How do you have the right lighting? How do you do the right angle? Like what's behind you? I learned very quickly that hanging my Wheelhouse logo here behind my head made me look like the Statue of Liberty.
I was going to say, you look very patriotic.
So I had to like adjust what I was doing. I had to take it down immediately. It's ridiculous in all my videos with my clients. Here I thought I was gonna, no. So little things, got to pay attention to what's behind you so it's not a distraction. But mostly this course is about how to implement video in your business in such a way where you are not only finding ideal clients, but you're connecting with them and then you're converting them into paying clients and then continuing to keep sustainable business coming in through the power of video. It's all verbiage, it's positioning, there's everything. I put everything in there. It's a lot, but and I also really chose to make it as affordable as I feel like I needed to in order for people to feel like they could purchase it and not like break the bank. So I was really thoughtful about that too, because I know how it is for me when I started. It was a hard pill to swallow to invest, upfront. So there was that aspect as well, but yeah.
Awesome. Any last closing thoughts? Free mama to free mama, anything you want all of these women watching you to know, whether they've just started their journey, maybe they just stumbled across this YouTube channel, they don't even know what's up yet. What would you say to them?
Yeah, I have always been really big on authenticity and transparency and not being afraid to embrace exactly who you are as a person and allowing that to be what shines the brightest. I think so often we try to be like someone else, right? Like you see Lauren and you see what she's doing and you think, well, I need to be like that. And so while you know that there's maybe some discord because your personality isn't the same as Lauren's or even as mine, but you're trying so hard to be that person, that's going to translate through as inauthentic. And I think not only that, it's going to take away your joy because not being able to be you is painful. Additionally, it doesn't look good on you. I think the most beautiful you is always going to be the one that you are every single day with your friends and your family. That's the person people want to know, people want to see, and are going to gravitate towards. So I would just really encourage you to take a good hard look in the mirror and fall back in love with the person that you see, because while you have flaws, there's so much beauty and so much that you have to offer people around you and the world in essence. So Don't underestimate your value and your worth and your abilities, because you are capable of so much more than you think.
That's awesome. That was so great. We can't top that. You guys, thank you so much for watching. I see all of you guys. I see Adrienne and Lainey and Cy and Casey. Casey Rucker gave you a big shout out. She brought her to the Free Mama. Jessica, Eleonora. I think I'm actually talking to you later today, actually. Mia. It's crazy the entire weekend. No cattiness. Exactly. 60 women, no cattiness. We got Carrie girls on.
Yeah, Carrie.
Jessica, Birdie. Oh my goodness. You guys are amazing. Thank you guys so much. A big thank you to Cammy Lee. You are such a light, honestly, in our community and in the world. And I'm super grateful to call you a friend. And I'm incredibly proud of the growth and direction of your business. Honestly, like nothing makes me prouder than to watch you guys take the information that I give you and then leverage it and then go make it your own and go find whatever success means for you. So I'm incredibly proud of you and thank you for being here and sharing with us today.
Thank you for the opportunity. I love my Free Mamas.
Yay. All right. Bye everybody. Have an amazing day.
Bye.